RA Chats with Eric, and today we're going to be talking about the Reserve Officer Training Corps, also known as ROTC, which is a great career opportunity for you guys and also could be a way for you to pay for your college. So when I went to college, I joined Air Force ROTC, so I'm going to be speaking about my experiences going through the Air Force program. So these experiences won't be identical to Army or Navy. Their programs are a little bit different than the Air Force, but in general they'll run about the same way. So you can kind of apply what I'm going to tell you to most branches, but again, just specific to Air Force, I just wanted to tell you my experiences so you guys could get a feel of what these programs might be like. So the reason I found out about Air Force ROTC is it was my senior year and I was looking for what colleges I wanted to go to and what I wanted to do and ways to pay for it because college is really expensive. And I was basically applying for every scholarship I could get my hands on. And one of the scholarships I filled out was for this Air Force ROTC program. And I didn't really think I would get it. It wasn't like my intention to go to an ROTC program, but I wound up getting that scholarship and it basically pays for all of my college. Again, I was very lucky to get this, and this won't happen to everyone, but the scholarship I got right out of high school paid for all of my tuition and stuff like that. The only thing I had to pay for is my housing. So I was very lucky to get that, and that's the real reason why I joined the Air Force program. And anyone can really apply for these scholarships. You don't have to have any previous experience. In high school I didn't do JROTC, and I'd never really been big on the military or doing all that stuff. It really wasn't what I was about. I just randomly signed up for it and I got it. So you can do the same thing. If you did do JROTC or you are into military stuff, even better. You'll probably get into these programs a lot easier and it'll help you along. But don't feel like you need any experience, because I went in with zero sort of military experience or whatever, and I've spent the past 4 years doing it and it's gone very well for me. So now I'm going to really get into detail about how the ROTC program works. So for the Air Force program, when you start, you are a member of the General Military College system. So you are called a GMC. And basically this is for your freshman and sophomore year, where you're brand new and they're basically just training you on how to be in the military. You're going to take aerospace courses, which are basically Air Force classes. They teach you about the Air Force and how to be a member of the Air Force. So it's really basic stuff. They're just showing you the ropes. There's nothing, too hard that you're going to be doing. You just show up once a week to your classes and basically learn about the military. You learn about how to be in military standards. Like obviously I'm not right now. But so during your college semester, you actually always have to be clean shaven and have a nice haircut. And that's normally how I look, but it's the summer, so I'm allowed to grow a beard and have long hair. But if you normally saw me during a semester, I'd be clean shaven and clean cut as well. So, it's all part of that. Learning how to march correctly, learning how to have good military bearing and always, keep your wits about you and stuff like that. And also getting into shape. Getting into shape's a big part because you always have to pass physical fitness tests every semester. So depending on what detachment you attend, there's going to be a different variation of sizes. Because I go to a smaller detachment at Tennessee State University, and our class size for GMC is normally around 40 or 50 kids. But if you go to, say, UT would probably have about 100 other kids in the GMC class, pushing 200 sometimes. And then even bigger schools like Texas A&M, they have about 400 GMC students. And so that leads to the hardest part about your GMC years. So your freshman and sophomore years, the biggest goal if you're in ROTC is you got to stand out, because that is the best opportunity to get scholarships. Because most people that I went to ROTC with didn't get scholarships out of high school like I did. Most of them got scholarships after they were already in the program. So they just joined the program without any sort of scholarship stuff. But while they were there, they stood out enough to where they received scholarships. So they got their school paid for after they already joined. So if you do join, make sure you make it a point. You have to stand out in your leadership. Always be willing to step out and volunteer for stuff and try and lead stuff. And the other way is physical fitness. If you can get a good score on your physical fitness test, that'll make you stand out a lot from the crowd and is a great way to get a scholarship. So after your freshman and sophomore year being a GMC student, you'll have learned how to properly march, how to keep yourself in Air Force standards, and hopefully build up some physical fitness. So then, after completing those courses, during the summer between your sophomore and junior year, you're going to be sent to field training, which is just basic training but for ROTC students. And I can't speak for you because it changes every year, but when I went, it was a 2-week program. When the people the year before me went, it was a 1-month program, and I'm pretty sure the people this year are attending a 3-week program. So who knows how long the training will be when you go there, but the length isn't the important part. Basically, it's more of what it is. So like I said before, field training is the basic training for ROTC. So it's, it's exactly what you expect. You get off the buses when you get to camp, and, everyone's yelling at you. There's people who are screaming, like, oh, get over here, go, It's just like you would expect from the movies. You go to Maxwell Air Force Base down in Montgomery, Alabama in the middle of the summer, so it's burning hot 24/7. You're living in these little, these little rooms with a roommate, and you have room inspections, and you have to march down the hall, and you always have people yelling at you everywhere. So it's not a fun time. There are fun parts of it, but for the most part, everyone's just yelling at you. You have to eat at attention. You're not allowed to look at your food. Just dumb military stuff like that I don't really appreciate. But it makes you perform in a stressful environment, and that's all field training is really doing, trying to see how you react under stress. So if you do ROTC, just remember you will have to attend some sort of basic training like that where people are going to yell at you nonstop. There were some interesting parts of field training, though, that I thought were pretty enjoyable. And, it is called field training. That's because it teaches you field tactics. We learned small unit tactics. We learned how to breach rooms. We learned how to call in, medical rescue stuff. We did a lot of fun training events where, we were given paintball guns, basically, and we had to go perform missions, basically, live training experience. So it was fun stuff, get all camoed up, given a gun, you're given little mission planning details, and you got to make a plan yourself and then execute your plan with your flight and your squadron. So that's fun. It's not all horrible yelling and boring stuff. There is fun stuff to it. Although there is one thing to remember: this is a basic training environment. They treat you like crap. They have respect for you, but they'll treat you like crap. The first thing they did when I showed up is they shaved my head. Not my favorite look that I've ever had, but it definitely is a look. And but yeah, again, don't think it's going to be terrible. I look back on it fondly. I look back at my flight mates, and I made some really good friends there, and we really bonded and had a great time. And they're still my friends. I have a Snapchat group chat with all of them. We like each other. We were cool. We were a family for a little 2 weeks. So just remember, if you join ROTC, you are going to have to do this. It's not a fun time. It's definitely a little hard experience to get through, but I definitely think you come out a stronger person, and I think I learned a lot about being able to perform under pressure and dealing with stress, and I think I just became a more efficient human being from doing all that. So your next college semester after passing field training will be when you start your professional officer courses, or your POC years. And your POC years is basically when you then lead the GMC. You're in charge of the detachment, you run the detachment, you still attend your classes because you still have a lot more classes to learn, and just more stuff to learn in general. There's a lot to pack into 4 years to be an officer in the military. So you're going to take your courses, and then afterwards you're going to be in charge of teaching the GMC everything they need to learn to pass field training. Basically, when you become a POC, you become an instructor. You're still being taught, but you also become an instructor, and you really learn how to lead people. So I think probably the biggest pros of ROTC would be the fact that you are kind of guaranteed a job after college. If you pass the program, you get to be an officer in the military. It's a steady job. It's a well-paying job. You'll be taken care of. So it's nice to have that job security going through college, that you don't have to worry about what you're going to do when you get out. Another pro would be a good opportunity to get into the career field you want. Like, personally, I want to be a pilot, and that's kind of a hard career field to get into, whereas the Air Force, if I get a pilot slot, they're going to teach me how to fly, and then I'll get to do that for my job. And one of my friends, she wanted to be a nurse, and the Air Force helped pay for it, and now she gets to be a nurse in the Air Force. So the good thing about the Air Force is they have lots of career fields, so anything that you could be interested in, you could get a secure job in that field. Probably the biggest pro would be the scholarship opportunities that come from ROTC. Like I said, that's the real reason I joined. I'm not a real gung-ho military person, but they are paying for my school, and that's fantastic. It's a big burden taken off me and my family about worrying about how I'm going to pay for college. So keep ROTC in mind if you're thinking about options of how you're going to pay for school. And the cons of ROTC, I think, would be, definitely one is that if you do get a scholarship, then you have a pretty lengthy commitment. Since I had a scholarship all the way from out of high school and they're paying for most of my schooling, I actually have an 8-year commitment, and if I do become a pilot, it becomes a 10-year commitment. So the entirety of my 20s now belongs to the Air Force, and there's nothing I can do about that now. I'm locked in, and so no matter what happens, I will be in the Air Force for a very long time. If you don't want to be locked in a career for that long, then don't go down this route. So again, personal choice. If you get a scholarship, you'll owe a lot of years, so keep that in mind. Another con would just be, it is a difficult program. Field training was really hard, and there is a lot of, physical fitness involved. So if that's something that you don't like, if you don't like exercising, if you don't like, keeping yourself in good physical condition, then this wouldn't be a program for you. I've known many people that have quit because they just got sick of the whole physical fitness routine stuff. So again, things to think about, because that would extend into, your military life. You also have to be physical fit. So if that's not something you want to do, don't do it. It's just not for you. Another con, I think, is just the annoying military aspect of it. And again, this is all from personal preference. But, I find it very annoying that we have to run around and shout things and, be like, oh yeah, we're the Air Force. I find that annoying. Keep that in mind. If you're not big on, being able to get in and do a little goofy military stuff once a week, then just consider if it's what you want. That being said, while it is annoying, I definitely think it's worth it in my opinion, simply because it's paying for my school and it's going to give me an opportunity in a career that I really want to be in. So that's what I'm saying, is always, weigh your pros and cons, because there's going to be pros and cons to anything you do, and it's always up to you. So now you know a little bit about ROTC, you know what's good about it, you know what's bad about it. And again, I just barely scratched the surface. I spent 4 years doing this, and I've condensed this all into a short video. So if you have questions further about the ROTC program, feel free to contact me. I know you all have my contact info, and feel free to call me, honestly. I'll answer any questions you have, because this is a big life choice, and I would like to help you make the right call for you. Thanks for watching. This has been RA Chats with Eric. Turn in later for more educational and helpful videos.
This has been a Teacup production.